Thank you, Mrs. Amachi. I'm honored to have been asked to give this address. Commencements are odd events. Why do we do this? Why do we march in and out to formal music, have speeches, stand and sit at pre-appointed times, pray, take photographs, wear formal clothing, even turn off our cell phones, or at least put them on silent mode? What is it about this night, this experience we're immersed in together, that urges us to high ceremony and traditional ritual? All of these ceremonial gestures have been written into this event by hundreds, even thousands of years of similar celebrations. These gestures form the words and phrases of a heightened language, learned and expressed specifically to remove us from our everyday activities and to place us in a moment that is extremely personal and emotional, even as it is formal and perhaps a little foreign. We are in the midst of a kind of poetry here. And poetry, all art really, at its most basic level, uses formal gestures to remove us from our familiar settings, even while it grounds us more deeply in the familiar. In poetry, things that we see and experience every day are seen and experienced anew as if for the first time, with a significance that was, in a sense, always there before, but perhaps not noticed or forgotten. A tree, a mountain, a river, a book, a window, a road. Riding the bus to school or work, dropping a coin into the vending machine, playing a piece of music, talking to a friend. No matter what it is, art takes these experiences and places them in a context that makes them simultaneously something else and yet more themselves than ever before. And so also here tonight at this commencement, these graduates are singled out by ceremony to be seen in a new light and to be understood as people who are both familiar and yet also new and strange to us. Daniel Brink, Tom DiNicola, Patrick Tomasi. You are not just those guys we see every day at school or at home. Suddenly you are young men whose accomplishments lead you to stand before us at a threshold, at an end and a beginning. Each of you has been preparing all of your life to become the man you now are. In fact, all that you have done up to now has been in varying degrees practice for this moment when you are officially an adult. In a fairly brief period of time, you have gone from pretending to drive to driving, from chores around the home to holding down jobs, from learning to read and write to studying and developing well-organized and articulate essays. The poet William Wordsworth noticed in children this innate desire to imitate adulthood in preparation for becoming an adult. And he developed the notion that it proved something about human nature. And being a romantic poet, he viewed these imitations that children perform as limitations of their original freedom and early infancy. The following famous lines of his display a vaguely Platonic notion of the origins of the soul. Our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting. The soul that rises with us, our life's star, hath had elsewhere its setting, and cometh from afar. not in entire forgetfulness, and not in utter nakedness, but trailing clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home. Heaven lies about us in our infancy. Shades of the prison house begin to close upon the growing boy, but he beholds the light, and whence it flows, he sees it in his joy. The youth who daily farther from the east must travel still is nature's priest, and by the vision splendid is on his way attended. At length the man perceives it die away and fade into the light of common day. But for Wordsworth, the child's original connection with nature and freedom from social conventions, from adulthood, shows his primal connection with the pure innocence of God himself, whose beauty can be seen lingering in our natural state. As with much of Wordsworth's poetry, he has it half right.